excited to have Jenny King with us from Ecopilot. Ecopilot is our new partner, and when I say partner, I mean I really look at this this transaction that we're doing together, this path we're headed down as a partnership. Ecopilot, I think, for VIDA is key to sustainability and key to allowing us to not just upgrade these older buildings. And I know we're going to talk about what that means, Jenny, but allows us to upgrade them, reinvest in these properties, and which has benefits for the tenants, not just their comfort, but benefits for their long-term affordability and being, having sustainable affordability. So really excited. So look, Jenny, let's just start. What is Ecopilot? Because it even took me a minute to kind of figure that out, and so tell for everyone who's listening, because I think there's going to be lots of listeners and those who could even tap into Ecopilot. What is Ecopilot?
Well, thanks, Ron. And we're really excited to be here talking about a long-term relationship as well. So what is Ecopilot? I often describe it in its most simplest form as artificial intelligence for HVAC energy efficiency. So we really focus on three pillars of what our offering is. It's to, first of all, deliver tenant comfort, energy savings, and carbon reduction. But we also say energy savings are just the beginning with Ecopilot, because much like you, we also believe in sort of that community partnership and extension of something much bigger than what is just certainly on the surface. So it is AI. It does interface to existing building management systems and essentially optimizes them every 2 minutes using weather, temperature, and most importantly, the thermodynamics of the building. So we use the building as a battery so that before you're going out to pay for energy, you can take advantage of the free energy that's just naturally there in the building. So every 2 minutes, our AI is doing all the thinking of what a whole team of engineers would do. So we often describe it as recommissioning a building every 2 minutes.
But at first, when I was talking to yourself and Dean Shea about this, I kind of looked at Ecopilot as maybe this technology that sits over your boiler, but a almost as simple as a what do you call it, like a Nest. But I was way wrong, right? Because it really it's about putting sensors in different places that have I'll have you explain, but essentially my understanding is that tap into different energy sources of the buildings that then trigger a collective decision of when to turn heat on or off. But
well, there's so many variables that are constantly impacting a building that will eventually impact its comfort, but also how much energy is required to heat or cool it. So Ecopilot breaks a building up into smaller buildings, if you will, zones. And one part of a building is going to be significantly impacted differently than another part of the building, for instance, with solar radiation or, people in the building. Maybe there's a school with a cafeteria. I mean, those are all adding heating or cooling components into a building, and it's going to impact, the greater building as a whole. So Ecopilot, it's often described too as like eco driving, like not braking or accelerating at the same time. We only want to introduce heating and cooling as it's needed. And, by adding those temperature sensors, I mean, there's a couple of reasons. One is that it's definitely a part of our algorithm that every 2 minutes we're considering what's going on within the building and that ambient temperature. But, how can you ever really assess someone's comfort when you don't really know what that is in real time? So at any time on the dashboard, one of your building ambassadors or a building operator or ourselves or anybody can log in on the dashboard and see in real time what that real temperature is. So it's quite a powerful tool really for building operators just day to day.
And look, we've at this stage, I think we made a $250,000 plus investment to Ecopilot. So we're all in and we want to continue with it. And one of the things that made this investment so easy, Jenny, was the fact that Ecopilot's data would enable us or guide us in where we should continue to make investments. Tell us about that. I'd love that.
Yeah, there's a couple of ways to look at that. I mean, first of all, we're going to save you energy and money, and we're going to create a better environment for your tenants, and we're going to support your daily operators you know, in sort of their day-to-day. Ecopilot as well by default will identify any issues or failures that might be, you know, in the connected HVAC system. So we can quickly, and I tell you, we have never pressed live on a building that within almost minutes, we can identify, you know, systems that haven't been properly commissioned, passing valves, like those are, and who knows how long they're like that. So it's a powerful tool like that. And then, you know, long term, we'll be able to, not even long term, sort of quarterly, we'll come back to you and say, you know, we've noticed this is sort of going on the building, or this needs some tweaking. And the solution to that might be, you know, XYZ. We'll make that recommendation to you. It's sort of out of, it's by default, we're collecting that data. We have a team of energy engineers who live and breathe and sleep energy efficiencies. So we come back to you to make those suggestions. You know, maybe it's some window repairs, maybe it's adding insulation, all of that with obviously the big picture of reducing your carbon footprint.
So it's the new version driven by AI and data of what a human being would go around with a checklist and say, oh, the window looks old. Oh, the wall feels cold. Like this is the next level of that.
It's all part and parcel of that exactly. We're optimizing your HVAC systems for efficiency, and as a result, you know, other great opportunities present themselves, all with the big picture of obviously reducing energy consumption and leaving, you know, creating greener, healthier buildings.
Well, look, on that note, I this was icing on the cake, because only after we had signed the contract did I actually hear about the reduction of the carbon footprint, which to me is critically important from an ESG standpoint, environmental standpoint. It was just beautiful icing on the cake. But tell us, how does it do that? How does it reduce carbon?
Well, if we're using less energy, then we are, you know, requiring less resources and some dirty oils to make that happen. And you know, climate change is real, and we are seeing more and more, you know, governments pushing with aggressive targets. You know, there is that requirement to reduce consumptions, carbon taxes. I mean, all of these things are coming to the forefront because change is required, big change and very quickly. So, you know, integrating HVAC, you know, buildings are pollutants. They're create 30% of emissions here just in Canada alone. So we should definitely be looking at our buildings and looking to see what we can do to make them more efficient. And by using less energy, we can do that.
Yeah, I love that. What else, Jenny? What else have we not talked about that you're always kind of, you know, raving about? I know you're super excited about Ecopilot, or talking to potential customers about, but that we haven't talked about that may be useful to people.
Well, you know, I think maybe take a page out of what we hear from our own clients, actually, which is how pleasantly surprised actually they are that, I mean, you sign a contract that, you know, we're going to guarantee your energy savings. So they know what's coming down the pipe there. We're going to tell them what reporting looks like, and you know, that's all written in our documents. We're going to tell them, you know, how every year we're going to provide a report for as long as they're in operation, all of those really great things. What pleasantly surprises them actually is, you know, once you get into a building, that's when they really start to see, well, you know, we didn't realize that was an issue. We didn't know that wasn't properly done. We didn't know this opportunity for more savings was there. We didn't really appreciate that you really are an extension of your team. And I can't stress that enough. I mean, you know, we're sort of on the ground. If you have cold and hot calls, we want to know about it, because we don't want you to override and put in a temporary solution or a quick fix. We want to figure out what is really going on here. Let's peel back the layers and let's create a solution that, you know, is fixed so that these don't become issues. We're seeing more, I mean, VIDA, so this is such an exciting project to us because it actually is, it represents the first residential portfolio. And we love that it's affordable housing, because it's really making a statement, you know, to a lot of the change that's really required in our social fabric. But we're so excited to go east coast to west coast, right, with this. And you represent really our first large residential portfolio that says, let's go building after building after building. We're going to do this nationwide. And I mean, that's just, it screams and says, you know, how invested you are in creating I mean, we laugh and say we've been AI before we were AI, before AI was a kind of a cool word, because we've been doing this for 13 years, 1,200 buildings. So it's, we're doing something right, and our clients see that, because we've been here for a long time.
Jenny, just before we wrap, for someone who might own real estate assets, commercial or industrial or residential, at a high level, I know there's a quick checklist. Where does the system work, and where does it not work?
Sure. We don't, I'd say we don't discriminate against any building. And, a requirement, we do require a building automation system. There's a lot of times those aren't in a building, and we just simply add it as part of our project. So we do aim to make turnkey. But there's a few things. One is a thermally kind of heavy building is ideal, because it's a big part of our algorithm to use the thermodynamic properties in a building. We are offsetting supply temperatures in connected systems. So a centralized system, boiler, chiller, air handling units, that sort of thing. That's what else we need. And, if there's no temperature sensors in a building, again, we would add those as part of our turnkey project. But those are the big factors.
So it sounds like anything can fit, because you've been down this road before, and okay, you don't have this, we can plug it. You don't have this, you can plug it in, right?
That's right. And we provide free proposals, so free assessments. If somebody can just get us the information, we package everything up and tell you if your building qualifies, why it wouldn't, maybe things that might have to happen for that to do. But again, we aim to make everything turnkey with Ecopilot.
Yeah. Well, look, Jenny, thanks again. I mean, I think we're excited. It's our first big investment, and I think it's going to help us continue to revolutionize affordable communities. So we're super excited. Where can we know where to find you? I've got you on speed dial. Where do people find you? Where do we find
you?
Ecopilot?
Can find us online. Yeah, www.ecopilotai.com. Drop us a line. There's lots of information, case studies, checklists for a free building assessment there. Thank you, Ron. We're so excited to roll this out, and this is just part one of. I mean, now we're just telling the world that we're rolling this out across your properties. But next we'll be sharing results, so that's exciting as well. We look forward to it.
Absolutely, that'll be your next check-in, to share results. I'm excited to do that. Jenny, thanks again, and look forward to working with you and your team. Okay.
Take care.